Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Jacob Wile, too.
And welcome to another thrilling installment of Tiki's Universe, the show where we're not talking about DuckTales for a change. All right,
the star
folks.
is back. Because as you can see, Star is back.
So, folks, it's been a while. Of course, we've been very much enjoying going through the weekly DuckTales episodes on Tiki's Universe, but there's been a dry spell on DuckTales, and we very much do plan on catching up with Milo Murphy. I know that I've been talking about this. It's just, Jacob, you want to explain what happened with Milo Murphy?
They dropped a bomb on us, and we've basically missed it.
Yeah. Just a whole bunch of new episodes, and we had no idea what was coming. Just like out of nowhere. So we're planning on getting caught up with that in like chunks.
And, well, at least we know it's not them trying to burn off the episodes because it's canceled.
Right.
Because it's already been confirmed far in advance that it was renewed for a second season.
Okay, but I digress, though. I think, I think we're going to see a good kind of variety of shows coming up on Tiki's Universe. We're going to try and get through the 4 episodes of Welcome to the Wayne, which we haven't talked about already as well, just to kind of diversify into the Nickelodeon realm. But most importantly, Jacob, for the next 2 weeks, oh my God, the next Monday through Thursday, for 2 weeks in a row, we're getting 2 new Star vs. Forces of Evil episodes. Holy crapola. This is it, Jacob. I think this is what separates the men from the boys in the realm of podcasting about princess shows.
Remember they did the exact same thing with last November.
For sure.
So
Jacob, this and stuff like this and Steven Universe bombs, this is what I consider my podcasting Olympics, and I'm down for it, man. I'm ready to go. Like every day, we're going to be on the money. We're going to do the very best we can to not miss an episode, and I'm stoked to talk about all these. Like it's like I feel like this is going to be like a big kind of like event we're rolling out.
Yeah, especially considering Star is a big hit, and a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah. There's just like been so many, just in the first 7 episodes, kind of like the Battle for Muni story arc. There was that was just a total game changer of like, okay, this is exactly what this show can be. You know what I mean? Like the first season, it was like basically like a fun sitcom with some magic elements. Second season had some cool serialization, some throwaway episodes, some cool ideas. Third season, it's a whole different ball game, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned on during the Toffee episode, like remember the days of just a wacky sitcom about a girl from another dimension? Those days are long gone.
Oh man, and I just
basically the idea that the selling point of the show is entirely gone.
I gotta say that new theme song just fits what the show is now so well.
You mean the new ending theme?
Yeah, the new ending theme. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why they changed it was because they felt they needed something more neutral instead of happy and upbeat, especially after something like the Battle of Muni and stuff like that.
Of course. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They didn't want to end something on a dark note. They suddenly have a happy, fun song at the end.
So, Jacob, we got an interesting pairing of episodes for the kickoff of this whole Star Bomb, as we will call it. Scent of a Hoodie, and then Rest in Pudding. I thought Rest in Pudding was probably easily my favorite of the two, but I thought it was interesting how both of the episodes kind of focused on a similar theme. Like both of the episodes were hinged on the idea of letting go in a certain respect.
Yeah, and I instantly knew that, like, based on the title of Rest in Pudding, that was going to be about glossary.
Of course. Oh man. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I would. It's like, you mean, you can't mention putting an episode in and have it not involve glossary.
Very little pudding in the actual episode, though, I must say.
Yeah, but I don't think there was any pudding at all.
I don't think so at all. Yeah, there was mention of pudding.
I think it was just a clue to say, like, Yep, this is going to involve Glossaric.
Okay, so Jacob, I can't wait to talk about that episode. But first of all, let's talk about like probably the more lighthearted of the two, which is Scent of a Hoodie. This was a pretty decent one. It was kind of a good kind of sort of aftermath episode. You know what I mean? Kind of an epilogue to the Battle of Muni, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting premise to go for after Battle of Muni, I must admit. Like something that probably only this, maybe not only this show, but shows like this could pull off. I mean, at first they made it seem kind of like a ridiculous thing, but we learned actually they made it seem like a good reason as to why Star was doing what she was doing.
Right.
And at least it made it clear earlier on that she was kind of like as like when you're in your right senses. I am in my right senses.
Yeah, of course. This is
probably not in her right mind.
I feel like this episode is kind of a good kind of middle ground point between what we got in season 1 with kind of like the goofy antics of Star and the deep storytelling that we saw at the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So, first of all, we got to talk about Star and Marco's goodbye, which is just, a mix of adorable and sad. I mean, it's not quite as earth-shattering and heartbreaking as the end of season 2, which, that was just so out of nowhere. But just how dorky and adorable they are, like standing in front of each other's way as Marco's trying to walk through the portal.
At least they're saying goodbye on better terms.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And then, yes.
You could tell neither of them really wanted to say goodbye.
And then, yes, we get to the dreaded Hoodie itself, which looks absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and I will say that's it's pretty cool how like both the Queen and King are acknowledging Marco's contributions.
Yeah, no, I love how River offers Marco the chance to become a knight, which I gotta say, I'd be surprised if they didn't pay that off at some point. Maybe not this season, but definitely down the line.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool and Star's mother, who really doesn't approve of a lot of people, like even she approved of him, which I must say is pretty interesting for her.
Yeah, Moon didn't get a lot to do in these 2 episodes, but she was pretty on point.
Yeah, I will say that is they utilize her pretty well when she's there. Like instead of being the nagging mother she originally was, now she's actually more than that.
And of course, I think it's interesting because when you think about it, Moon was kind of like the big cliffhanger. The big cliffhanger at the end of the Battle of Muni revolved around her. So she really is the character this season where there's the most shade surrounded around. You know what I mean? So as we go forward, like any scene with Moon in it, we're going to kind of be like, yeah, it's very nice to see her, so approving of Marco. But, you got to think she's got a million other things on her plate. And that's one of the interesting kind of things moving forward with how the show's kind of delved into the serialization.
Yeah, I mean, that will be an interesting way to go.
All right.
But okay, yeah, back to the whole Hoodie thing. The whole Hoodie thing, yeah, it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, I thought Ponyhead was delightful this episode, I must say.
It's like for once she was the one talking sense.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good kind of turnaround for her character.
Usually she's the one that's all like, yeah, girl, we gotta go break the rules, or we gotta do this. It's like no, it's like she never tells Star that she's nuts or something like that, but it's like, okay, girl, you're acting crazy.
I do like the kind of the subtle detail that we have in this episode of, Ponyhead heard about the Battle of Muni going on, but she couldn't leave because she was getting her hair done. I have to do that, girl. It's just like, as nice as Ponyhead is, she's definitely got a selfish side to her.
Well, of course.
All right. So, what do you think about the laundry night? I'm not really. I'm kind of mixed on him. I watched this episode twice, and I'm still not really sure how I feel about him.
I thought he was pretty interesting for what he was.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I mean, he's a laundry knight. I mean, what else can you do?
What else can you? Yeah, I mean that's a fairly good point. I don't know.
I at least admire his devotion.
That's true. That's true. I'm not saying he's annoying or anything. I'm just saying like it's kind of weird to just throw this random character into the middle of the episode.
Yeah, maybe that was kind of the point. I don't know. It's like okay, he's here.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's not like this is the first time we've seen a weird character show up out of nowhere on this show, so it's not like it's unprecedented.
No, and as far as this one goes, they could have been a lot more annoying with him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It made him less sympathetic.
And he actually is kind of used as a good kind of plot device to get Star into her emotional place, which I think is kind of the strong point of the episode, is the place that Star gets to, you know, in terms of mailing back Marco's jacket to him and being ready to move on and face the challenges of post-Battle of Muni and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice detail there. Like, it's like she's not. It's like you can tell that she's like pretty much in Moon's shoes. She's not ready.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like she wanted Marco's hoodies are pretty much keeping her in her happy place.
And that is definitely an intriguing part of the season that we're going to track. You know, speaking of Moon, like more Moon tracking the season. I think the mirror image between Moon and Star is getting clearer and clearer, and I think that's a really interesting kind of character point for the both of them.
Yeah, I mean, like it's clear that they're like blurring the lines between them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's not much more to say other than the ending after like.
One more thing with Ponyhead. I really like how offended Ponyhead gets when you know, when the laundry knight's like telling Star what to do forever.
Like, okay, girl, like, let's do it.
Oh no, okay, we are getting your hoodie back. Oh yeah.
It's like she's easily influenced.
That's what I like about Ponyhead, man. You know, it's like as rational as she's trying to be, at the end of the day, she is Star's BFF. You know what I mean? And so it's like, of course she's going to help in this kind of crazy mission, even if she knows deep down it's not really in Star's best interest.
Yep, pretty much.
All right.
It's like, and the guy actually thought that Star was going to kill him, which probably, based on the look in her eyes, and if I'm not mistaken, they kind of turned green for a moment. I don't know. I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
She could be. She looked like she was ready to full on kill him, even though she said she wasn't. I mean, that's what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually did get the hoodie clean. And sent it back to Mud. Actually, did get sent back to Marco.
All right, and I think that's about it with that episode.
Which if you remember what he said at the end, it smells like Star.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice way to end it off too. Good beat to end on.
Yeah.
Okie dokie, let's transition over to Rest in Pudding. All right, so yeah. Jacob, as good as the Battle of Muni was as a whole, that didn't necessarily feel like episodes as much as it felt like one cohesive storyline, which is honestly a compliment to that whole thing because, you know what I mean? It all flowed together so well. So with that in mind, I got to say, I think Rest in Pudding is probably my favorite episode of season 3 so far, like on a standalone level.
Probably. There hasn't been much else besides Battle of Muni.
Right, and I mean, if we're taking Battle of Muni as like one episode, then I'd say that's clearly the winner. But I mean, that's a little unfair. So yeah, I love this episode, and I think it's got a creepy factor to it. I think, honestly, it's a contender for next year's Haunted Holiday Hijinks Halloween lineup. That's exactly. Like I kind of got that vibe watching it.
And then I'm surprised they didn't like start this episode start airing this season around Halloween, because this would have been perfect.
It would have. It would have. I mean, honestly, I think it would have fit Halloween a lot more than the Mummy episode of DuckTales did.
Yeah, heck, Hungry Larry kind of aired around Halloween, I think, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, it did. And I think that episode is a more traditional Halloween episode. However, I think this is a more creative and overall more creepy and suspenseful episode.
It is.
And I just really like the dynamic they go with this. I really like how it's structured. Of course, we start with, oh God, help me out. Jacob, help me out here. What's Goatman's name? I'm sorry.
Lekmet.
Lekmet. Yes, I knew it was like a Lek something. So, so we start with Lekmet's funeral, which is, of course, kind of a nice somber affair. I really am starting to grow on Romulus, I gotta say, because I was pretty hard on Romulus in the first couple episodes he was introduced in season 2. Mostly because his episode Math Magic Land wasn't what I was wanting it to be. Like, I had really, like, ridiculously specific standards about an episode with that title. So, after that unfair start, like, I've really started to grow on this guy.
I think there's another episode he was in.
I think so, too. But, I mean, Math Magic Land was really, like, his first starring role in an episode.
All right.
Anyways. Okay, so my point being, I just really like how, how supportive he is, how into the message of Lekmek he is. I know it's not princess food, but it's what he loved. That's why he was such a good person.
Yep.
I don't know, it's just it's pretty inspirational.
It's sad inspirational and a little bit humorous.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like they're logic, like, yep, he was a goat.
But then, of course, as soon as we see Glossaric in the punch bowl in a really creepy moment, the episode ramps up. And Jacob, I gotta say, just the way they animate Glossaric, where he's staring back at Star, but he's not moving at all. It's just like, that's what makes this episode for me, is the way that Glossaric just kind of blankly stares throughout the episode.
Yeah, it's like, it was really pretty interesting and really, like you said, creepy. Mm-hmm. And how, like, for majority of the episode, Star's really the only character there.
Yeah, for the, like, literally, like, the vast majority of the episode, outside of, like, the opening funeral scene, takes place in Star's bedroom when she's kind of, like, cowering under the covers.
And also the occasional call with Jana.
Sure. But I mean, even those calls with Jana, like, Star's still in that position, even though we see outside with Jana, but it's still Star stuck in that confined space.
For sure.
All right. Let me think. So yeah, like I said, I think that confined space is something that just really works for me. It makes this kind of a bottle episode, which is weird to say about a show like this, but it's just like, this is a very personal episode about Star and Glossaric's relationship, and yeah, it does get creepy, but it also gets very emotional, and it's kind of like both kind of like saying goodbye and letting go of Glossaric. Like I said, the theme of both the episodes that we saw today is about letting go, but the episode is also just as much about kind of like a welcome back for Glossaric in his own kind of like creepy way.
It's like in how Star actually came to terms and appreciate him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that was it? Do you think that was the spell that brought him back, was how she appreciated him?
I don't know. I think it was quite possibly. I mean, it might have been left open, purposely ambiguous, so you can figure it out.
Sure.
So it can be revealed later on.
Of course, this episode's got a great visual style to it. I love when we start getting like kind of like the trippy, almost like Heffalumps and Woozle style, like Glossaric imagery kind of surrounding Star. I love how Star is like starting to see the shape of Glossaric in everyday objects. Like I said, just visually, it's all very well done. It all very much comes together and, presents a good kind of cohesive visual story.
When I love the nod to Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, this episode is really on point with the creepy factor.
It's like it's like you buried him in a pet cemetery? Did you want him to haunt you more? It's like the song goes, I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery.
Oh god. So speaking of Jana, I thought her role was short and sweet. You know, it makes a ton of sense to call her in this kind of situation, and it's also a nice way to link up with the stuff happening on Earth. I really liked how they worked in Marco and Jackie. I almost called her Janice. I'm so sorry. I really like how they worked in Marco and Janny, you know, just as a very brief cameo. Like, oh, there they are, and that's right, they're dating. Haha.
It's like, why do we hang out with Jetta again?
Yeah, that was all very clever. Like I said, I thought that was a really good device to kind of like keep Earth in the episode, if for however brief.
But the thing is, why did she bring like a shrunken head and a Book of the Dead with her to eat tacos, to eat burritos with Marco and Jackie?
Because she's Janice, Jacob. Because she's Janice. Jana. God, why do I have... What the heck? Am I just like... Is it like Halloween season? I just really want to watch Rocky Horror? I think that's it. I think I'm like subliminally like wanting to like sing along to Damn It, Janet. Wait, that's not even Janice. What the hell? Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I am... Jacob, save me. Make a good point.
Well, I really liked how the like where they went when they brought Glossric back at the end. That was pretty interesting. Like, so that Glossric actually did come back, that he's not really dead after all.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, it was a relief, honestly, because like this episode was all about kind of like saying goodbye in different ways, like saying goodbye to Lekmek. In the previous, in the A episode of the 2, we got, Star saying goodbye to Marco. And then, with this, I thought this was going to kind of be Glosseric's, really creepy swan song, but I thought it was going to be it. It's like, I hope you find your big, your big pile of pudding, it's like, I thought that'd be it, Jacob. So I was really relieved at the end of the episode. As soon as Star comes running in, I pretty much assumed what was going to happen. But, it was just, it was very cathartic.
It really would have been a nice touching ending, though, if he decided actually not to bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, it would have. But at the same time, you know me, Jacob. I freaking love Glosseric. So, give me more Glosseric.
Well, Jeffrey Tambor, we gotta love you.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think we pretty much covered the gambit of it. Yeah, Glosseric being back in the picture is definitely very exciting. Now, let me ask you, Jacob, do you think that Moon knew anything about this Glosseric situation?
I don't know. I mean, like, she seemed to think that he was gone.
Yeah, I guess so.
But then again,
like I said throughout this podcast, I'm extra suspicious of Moon going forward.
But then again, like, they have mentioned like all the queens have had Glosseric in the past, so it's probably hard. It was probably hard for him to actually stay dead. He seemed like an immortal being.
That's what I'm saying. Like for me, I was wondering if Moon kind of knew that Glosseric was coming back, but also knew that Star needed to kind of have like an emotional letting go moment. Like, I'm not saying she was doing anything nefarious. I'm saying, by having Star go through that letting go phase, it's her being motherly. You know what I mean?
Well, I honestly don't think that she'd outright lie to Star in the regards of like saying like, he'll come back eventually if you like drop a book in a magic vat or something.
Jacob?
What?
It's just a theory. A toon theory.
And more thought out than his usual videos.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, God.
Sorry if we
Shots
offended
fired.
Sorry.
Ooh. Pew pew.
Don't, it was just a joke. Don't take it. Don't take
I
anybody
know.
take it to heart.
Okay. So Jacob, let me see. I guess that's it. I guess we pretty much covered the 2 episodes.
Yep, not much more to go over.
Yeah, except for the next 2. Now, folks, we have a lot of episode titles coming up, but I don't know. I don't even really want to go over them right now because A, there's just too many and they're kind of vague. A lot of them are kind of vague. So, and B, I think some of them could have the potential to sort of like switch around and change. Like maybe not. I'm just saying, like I've seen in the past with Steven Universe and stuff, like episode titles will show up on the wiki and then, drop off the wiki and not be seen for another season. So, wiki can be kind of weird like that. But anyways, Jacob, with that in mind, the next 2 episodes, which we will be covering tomorrow in our marathon Star vs. Force of Evil coverage, next 2 episodes are going to be Club Snubbed and Stranger Danger.
It should be interesting.
Who knows? I'm guessing that Club Snubbed is going to have something to do with Ponyhead.
Most likely either that or something to do with the Bounce Lounge.
Yeah, for sure. As for Stranger Danger, I really have no idea, so we'll just have to wait and see on that.
There's not even a synopsis as far as I know.
I don't think so.
Well, guess we'll find out.
Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning back into us, and we are very excited to be going forward with all this Disney XD stuff. Of course, after this 2 weeks of Marathon Star vs. Force of Evil coverage, Disney XD will be releasing the pilot movie of the Big Hero 6 series. I believe it's called The Return of Baymax or Baymax Returns. Is that right, Jacob?
Yeah. Yep, the latter.
Baymax Returns?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, we will definitely be covering that. There's going to be a couple new episodes of DuckTales in December, I believe maybe 1. And moving forward, we're going to have a lot of more content for you guys. And hopefully one day we will catch up with Milo and we will catch up with Welcome to the Wayne, and all will be right with the world. All right, folks. So, see you later.
Yep.